Hey my friend, welcome back to a new video. Today I want to talk a little bit about glitches that are happening to so many of you in reality right now. As in our previous message, we've talked about how you're between two different timelines, how it may happen for you right now that you may be in two different timelines. And when it happens to us, it's a very natural thing. It's a sign that we're changing, but the change hasn't fully arrived or manifested completely. The first part of each change is always mental, which means there's the mind that is changing. Maybe you came across new information, maybe something inspired you and you've started thinking a bit differently, like you've started thinking about new possibilities. You've started recognizing that the old life was not fitting you anymore, like something we've talked in the previous video. If you would like to know more about this, go and watch the previous video. So your mind starts changing when you come across some new information that may be more meaningful to you, maybe they resonate more with you. Like, let's say in the past you've been living a life in the system because that was all you knew. So you had a job and you've been just living an average life, but suddenly you came across maybe an artist or someone who's living a life you would only dream about. But then you've started studying possibilities more and you've noticed that maybe you could do it too if you would dedicate your time more precisely and you would study certain things and options that could allow you to do it, and you would make some sacrifices, take some risks, work on believing into a possibility and change your habits a little bit, do some new practices, and that new life can be yours. So you've altered your mind to such a degree that you've started altering your actions as well, and therefore you've started noticing some first changes. Well, it firstly means that on the energy level you've started changing, you've started showing up the interest into a new reality, a new experience of life that can only manifest when the energy creates it possible. Your energy already created it as a potential reality because you've started thinking about it. But now in order to manifest, this energy needs to slow down, which means you need to stay consistent with thinking about it. You need to stay consistent with doing something about it. And you need to stay consistent with feeling it as it's already present. And that's when small glimpses of it start materializing until at some point you see synchronicities, you see serendipities, you see tiny manifestations that will only encourage you to feel it even more, to believe in it even more, and to know that it's all going to happen. But in between, you are experiencing some kind of glitches that are happening to so many of you right at this time, because now it's not just a personal project, now it's a collective project. Now collectively people are shifting into something new. Collectively now people believe into new possibilities. Collectively people now know that there is more love, that there is more health, that there is more abundance, that there is more prosperity, that there is more vitality, that there is more light, and there is more connection. And because collectively so many of us may be tapping into this new potential, now even if you're doing the work or you're doing it just here and there, glitches will be happening to anyone who has opened up to this possibility. And glitches may be experienced in a way that for a moment you just wake up in a new life, like things just work out and you experience almost like miracles and very incredible things happen to you. And then you just shift to an old life once again, where it feels like again nothing works, or you live this old life, and then in the old life you again experience so much of synchronicities, but then it feels like again nothing manifests, and then suddenly so many things at the same time manifest, and then suddenly nothing works anymore. And it's like very confusing because you're not sure, is this now, working or not? And many times when people are experiencing their lives in this way, they think there's something wrong with them. And partially there may be something wrong with your clarity around what you want, or you haven't fully forgiven to your old self for what you think that you've done wrongly, because you may still blame yourself for something, and therefore you just need to be more patient with yourself and understand that you have done what you knew. And if you will be more aware when next time you meet these similar opportunities that in the past maybe allowed you to do something that you were not so proud of, you will not now be able to be more present in these events, until before reacting, taking a deep breath and just respond more consciously. And these tiny little changes that you apply change your energy completely, because it makes you more conscious in events that before you were unconscious, which means that the old pattern that was guiding your life is now not guiding your life anymore. Now your conscious mind is guiding your life. And more your conscious mind is guiding your life, more your life is becoming like you have consciously designed it. So don't be surprised if you're experiencing this kind of glitches, where for a moment it all makes sense and then for another moment nothing makes sense. Or for a moment you kind of shift into almost like the most ideal life or perfect life, and then for a moment nothing seems to work anymore. Those are all very natural things for this life, because it's not just you that are creating a new personal reality. Now collectively people are creating new collective reality. So the energy is so much more potent right now, and therefore it makes sense that it's a bit more confusing. This is a very huge project for the collective consciousness. And you just need to know that every change you apply in your daily life is changing the whole, is changing the collective. And it makes a greater ease for the collective to change. So focus on your personal positive changes you can apply in your daily life, and notice where you could bring more consciousness to your life, where you could be more conscious and less reactive, where you could be more aware and less ignorant, and where you could be more kind and loving and less maybe unkind and unloving. And be aware of when you don't have capacity for these things, because it's all a sign that you don't need to be kind all the time, and you don't need to be loving all the time. Sometimes you need to rest, sometimes you need to recharge, and sometimes you need to be a bit selfish so the battery can, recharge. Like your phone is serving you, but then through the night maybe, or when the battery is empty, you plug it to the electricity. And that's when the phone becomes selfish a little bit. It's same with you, my friend. You can't be of service all the time. You can't be there for others all the time. It's okay to be selfish, to take care of your own needs, because only this way you can be then more resourceful for the collective. So if you've been experiencing any kind of glitches in your life, know that that it is very natural for this time. And I just want to let you know that you're doing a great job. Notice what are your weaknesses at this point that maybe require more awareness from you. Because many of you are very open spiritually, but maybe not so grounded physically. So in this sense, being more grounded physically can be one weakness to work on. And by being grounded physically also means that you stick to something that works for you. We are living in a time of information where everything is accessible and available to us. So you may find so many different fields of knowledge interesting to you, accessible to you, and there are so many different practices that became available to you. But it may also become chaotic because on the energy level, you could expose yourself to everything and it would all make a positive effect on you. But on the physical level, any work requires consistency. So if you're maybe jumping from one field to another too fast, it will create a confusion in your logical mind, and therefore intuition will start feeding you with way too many insights, but your logical mind will be ungrounded and confused. So consistency with sticking to something that works for you at this point is very important, and being aware and very in tune with the present moment to know when to move to the maybe next project or next thing or next practice is also very important. So just know that one of the reasons you're experiencing glitches is also because you are ungrounded, as much as the collective energy is ungrounded right now. It is what we've been talking in the previous video, the time between the two different timelines. So ask yourself, how could you be more grounded during this time? Like personally, I'm spending so much more time in nature and it helps me a lot. So I'm going to the forest for rest and I'm just, spending more time in nature. Maybe close to water really helps. And one analogy that I shared with you in the video about ascension symptoms was that I found very helpful for other people, that it is like this time you're not imagining yourself as the part of the stream of life, because the stream is very ungrounded right now, but you rather imagine yourself as a very grounded rock in the stream. So you see yourself as a grounded rock that is not so affected by the chaotic energies that are so present around us. And you can sit down and imagine yourself being a very grounded rock. Doesn't matter how big or small, just imagine it. And see how this stream then becomes more gentle and slow until at some point it disappears and you become just you. You become just you. That's how you detach from the external influences and you become more aware of who you are in all this happening and during all this happening. So it doesn't mean you escape from the collective or you escape from the stream, but you get reminded how much maybe different you are from what's around you. So you don't lose your authenticity, you don't lose your uniqueness, your originality. You always stay in touch with it. And even better, you can start working and living your life more from that originality, from that authenticity, from that uniqueness of yours. So this rock that you have discovered within you, very well grounded, is rather an intuitive angel that is grounded in this dimension right now and is urging to be expressed. See it as a force that is urging to be expressed despite the external chaos. There's now something inside of you that is urging to be expressed, to come out, to speak, to share, to show, to present, whatever it may be. And then stick to it, stay grounded in it, and don't lose it despite the external chaos. This is another reason why these glitches are happening, because people are so ungrounded during this time, and being grounded is a great mastery for this time. You need to know that eventually it will become easier, and this is one of the most transformative time of our lives. That's why it is a bit harder and it feels more chaotic, and it may cause a lot of confusion. But more you learn to ground this way, less you will be maybe attached to the chaos, and you will become order. You will become more coherent force that is here to create a new world. So this kind of glitches you've been experiencing will be still happening, but notice what in your life may be a source of it. What part of you may be manifesting it. So the reality hasn't grounded completely yet, but it could if you would ground these parts of you. Sometimes it's just more clarity around what you want. Sometimes it's just sticking to one practice that works for you. Sometimes it is being less distracted. Sometimes it is to spend more time at places that you feel pleasant. And sometimes it is expressing yourself, having an outlet for something that is maybe bothering you, or for inspiration that lives within you. You see, you're a particle of God, which means that you are a creative particle here in this dimension, which means that within you are forces that are meant to be expressed. And if you suppress them, they turn into pain, because pain for your body is a reminder that something must be released. So when you feel that something should be released and must be released, you should allow it to be released. And don't be surprised if pain turns into inspiration, which often happens when you release a suppressed emotion. That's why if you currently feel inspired to do art, or to do music, or to write poetry, or to write books, or to record videos, or to talk with strangers, or to go to new places, go for it. And notice how it makes you feel when you do something like that, because often people describe this sensation when they free themselves, like they would step out of the prison and suddenly their lives became filled with joy. Every time they express themselves, every time they talk, every time they write, every time they sing, every time they dance, every time they paint, they feel like they would be free. Because that's how you should feel. That's why you should allow yourself to be expressed, and don't try to make it perfect. Just allow yourself to open up and express. I always say to you, perfection is actually a state of becoming. This is the only perfection you will ever experience. It's a state of becoming. It's not a state of being. Because life is not stagnant, it's fluid, it's in constant motion. So if you want to get in touch with perfection, start becoming, start doing, start expressing, start taking action that is freeing you, that is liberating you. And you will be becoming better with it. That is the only perfection that exists. As you are becoming better and better, you are becoming more masterful at it. You know more, so you're constantly knowing more. That's why there must be balance between learning, grounding, and expressing. So you don't just learn and suppress what you've learned, and you don't just express nothingness because you've never learned a lesson. You keep learning and growing. Then you keep grounding these lessons into understanding, into integration, so it can change in your behavior. so the knowledge you've learned can change your behavior. But then you also express it so other people can learn through what you've learned. And for that, you need to be able to organize your life in a way that you could actually use what you've learned to maybe help someone. And inspiration will be your greatest guide, like what inspires you at this point, what you would love to do. This will all help you to navigate this time of glitches and shifts and transition from one timeline to another. And also don't focus so much on the collective timeline, like what would be good for all or what will happen in the future. Focus also on your personal timeline, like what would be good for you and what kind of future life you want to live. Because from this perspective, it will be also much easier to notice what feels good to a human body, what feels good to human nature. And then you can also project these visions and ideas for the collective, like maybe seeing more health, seeing more smiles, seeing more joy, seeing more wholeness, seeing more beauty, seeing more loving people that are walking around and hugging each other or laughing and enjoying their lives, because you've personally experienced how good it feels, how wonderful it is, and therefore by helping yourself you are truly helping the collective. So I hope you found some great value today. I hope you've enjoyed in today's painting as well, that is called The Flame of Life. I've shared it with you before, but I feel right now it's more important than ever to stay in touch with that flame of yours, but also to stay very deeply grounded in the reality that you are creating. Not the reality of your past, but the reality of your future that you're creating in this present moment. To anyone who would like to get a print of it, you can find it on the link in the description of this video, AttractPassion.com. You will find all of my art there, prints of my art that is more available, and also some original paintings are still available. So go and check it out. Prints are available in different sizes, so see which one fits to you the most. And the painting that resonates with you has something to give you. So check it out. And also join our Patreon community for deeper conversations, more precise teachings, podcasts, guided meditations, and so much more. Join us there as well. Join the community chat, and all of this. And see you in the next one. One love.